The Mario series is full of so many wacky, colorful characters, but this humble, normal cow from Mario Kart has been exploding in popularity in recent months. Even though they're just background characters in a few tracks, they're so lovable. Her beautiful smile has been charming fans all across the internet, spawning tons of fan arts and memes, until all this love and excitement for the gal culminated into the ultimate announcement that the cow has a driver's license now? That's right, in the newest Mario Kart game, Mario Kart World, you can play as the infamous Moo Moo Meadows cow. Usually you'd see people racing as Mario or Waluigi, but now this stupid cow with no thoughts is tearing up the racetrack. When this was first shown back in April, the internet went ballistic. There were so many things announced about this Mario Kart game, including a bunch of other random obscure characters, but the cow easily stole the show. But like, where did this cow even come from? What's her origin story? How did she go from dilly-dallying into oncoming traffic to racing along with Mario himself? So today I'm gonna dive deep into the extensive history of the Moo Moos, compiling every single mention of this species across the entire Mario series. And I found conspiracies, dude. This lore goes deep. I don't even know the implications of some of this stuff. So in this video, I will present to you my findings, starting out with the first ever appearance of the Moo Moos in 1996 with the release of Mario Kart 64. It all began right here at the humble Moo Moo Farm, the second track of the Mushroom Cup. It's a pretty simple and almost forgettable track compared to the rest of the game. It's literally just a fenced-in dirt path surrounded by grass, with the occasional bridge to pass under. But if you look beyond the fences, you can see the original ancestors of the Moo Moos. These silly cow creatures are so dumb looking with their spherical, rotund body. Although in this game, they're not even 3D, we just get 2D pixelated images. Besides that, there's some moles that pop out of the ground, a Moo Moo Farm sign, and even some barns in the distance, which all adds up to a very cozy atmosphere that I really like. Taking a look at the official manual, we can find a map of the course, and as you can see, it's literally just a dirt circle, but you can also spot a never-before-seen top-down view of the early Moo Moos. And there's even this magnificent artwork, finally letting us see the historical Moo Moo ancestors in their shiny, rotund glory. Here we can actually tell what the originally intended design was, and they look way different than what we have today, almost 30 years in the future. The body proportions are really wonky, but it's surprisingly not that far off. A few years later in 1999, we looked to Mario Party 2 of all places, cause in the Western Land map you can find these fenced-in areas with some cows chilling out. I can only assume they're supposed to be Moo Moos, but it's not really confirmed. I don't even know, probably. They appear yet again in Mario Party 3 though, in the background of one minigame called Foul Play. The next two Mario Kart games, both Super Circuit and Double Dash, sadly do not feature any Moo Moos. I know, very sad. But that's not the end of it, because if you look closely in Double Dash, you can sometimes spot a Moo Moo Farm branded truck driving around, which is most likely just carrying bottles of milk or something. The next time the Moo Moos grace us with their presence once again is in freaking Mario Pinball Land, that one weird pinball spin-off for the Game Boy Advance. And in this game, there's an extremely rare chance for a Moo Moo to just appear out of nowhere? How did she even get there? What the frick? But next there's Mario Kart DS, featuring the long-awaited return to Moo Moo Farm as a retro track in the Shell Cup. The course itself is pretty much the same, but looking beyond the fences, we can finally see the new and improved Moo Moo design. We went from this in Mario Kart 64 to this, and even though it's still a pixelated image, it's weirdly identical to what we have today. The blue collar, the bell, and even the big smile all came from this sprite, making it the true origin of the modern Moo Moo. The Moo Moo Farm itself has always been such a cozy and memorable track to me, but it really is long overdue for an actual update. So good thing Mario Kart Wii released in 2008, featuring the sequel to Moo Moo Farm, the infamous Moo Moo Meadows, finally presenting us with the cows in 3 dimensions. This glorious low-poly 3D model is so charming to me. Her smile shines brighter than ever, with full animations of them walking around, and even sound effects of the bell ringing. The track itself is way more whimsical than the original too, with a completely new layout and a crazy amount of extra details. It feels like a whole cozy little world with barns and windmills, even the freaking trees dance around. There's also a river and mountains in the distance, and containers of milk from the Moo Moos. But the most insane update is that the Moo Moos' hunger for action causes them to escape the fences and start wandering onto the track itself, and now you have to try not to run into them while racing. At first you would think this is incredibly dangerous and inhumane, like surely this is an OSHA violation or something, right? But once you actually run into one, you realize that you are the one who's really in danger. No matter how fast you're going, they don't even flinch. In fact, they stop you dead in your tracks and send you flying. These Moo Moos don't even give a damn. Just look at how massive they are compared to you. Not even a bullet bill or star power-up harms them in any way. They just kind of jump around a little bit, then smile as if nothing ever happened. But all this begs the question, how did they get so strong in the first place? Back then, they just watched from a distance, but now all of a sudden they have infinite strength? The moment the farm expands to a new location and rebrands to Moo Moo Dairy? Yeah, I forgot to mention, remember the Moo Moo Farm trucks from Double Dash? Well, now they say Moo Moo Dairy. And there's even an entire Moo Moo Dairy store at Coconut Mall, which seems to mainly sell ice cream, I guess. So my game theory is that the company got so much advertising and sales from all the Mario Kart races being held at their farm, so they ended up expanding to new locations and rebranded to Moo Moo Dairy so they aren't just tied to one farm. But there's also the unprecedented increase in demand for their milk. They were suffering from success after making $1 moojillion, so they probably used all this extra money for genetic modification. Stay with me now, because how do you assume you increase the power of a being in the Mario universe? Power-ups. So these cows were probably being fed as many red mushrooms, one-up mushrooms, and any other power-ups they could possibly buy, giving them a larger size, increased strength, and most importantly, more milk production. Eventually, they set up another racetrack at their new farm in the Meadows for even more advertising. And because of the side effect of the cows being insanely strong, they just let them wander onto the track during races. A surprising publicity stunt that's sure to garner tons of attention from the Mario Kart TV broadcasts. But the Moo Moo Dairy Company didn't stop there, because they also got sponsored by the freaking Olympics. Because in the Mario and Sonic 2012 London Olympic Games game, the Dream Equestrian event takes place in the Moo Moo Meadows. Although this time you can bring Sonic characters with you, which means Sonic has canonically met the Moo Moos. And yes, the Moo Moos still wander onto the track, even during this horse race sort of event. And they still don't even care if you run into them. Anyways, out of nowhere, this game confirms that the Meadows are far more expansive than we first thought, letting us explore an entire never-before-seen track that's way longer than the Mario Kart one. There's rivers to jump over, there's a freaking cave, a giant waterfall to jump through, and an even bigger river? And there's even more winding dirt roads in the distance. This place is massive. How much land does this company even own? Also, shout out to Mario Party Island Tour on the 3DS, cause there's some Moo Moos calmly grazing the fields in the Perilous Palace Path map. Not much else to see here though. But in 2014, on the Wii U, Mario Kart 8 released, with a full HD remaster of the iconic Moo Moo Meadows. The new version breathes so much life into the original course, with so many updates and details I can't even list them all. It's during sunset now, and there's a cute Moo Moo Meadows sign. There's even more barns and windmills, and so much more going on outside the track itself. It's just so cozy and relaxing now, I love it. But the cows are the star of the show, because the Moo Moo model has never looked this good. There's a bunch of updated animations, like the little ear flaps, which I really appreciate. Sometimes they eat some grass, and some of them are just chilling out laying on the ground. But the best update is all the new patterns and colors. There's brown spots, blue spots for some reason. There's even fully brown and fully black cows too. And it just adds so much variety and charm to these already lovable creatures. Oh, to be a Moo Moo eating grass all day. This game is also the origin of the infamous course thumbnail, with her big beautiful smile we all know and love. And yes, they do continue their mindlessly walking into oncoming traffic shenanigans. And no matter how fast you run into them, they still do not budge. You can still turn into a trampoline with a star though. Across the rest of the game, the Moo Moo branding is at an all-time high. But for some reason they rebranded again to Moo Moo Meadows Milk now, instead of just Moo Moo Dairy, which is a way better name in my opinion. There's more milk trucks driving around, a milk vending machine at the Super Bowl subway, even the giant milk bottle in the background of Baby Park is Moo Moo branded. There's even a Moo Moo themed Mii costume you can wear. If only we knew what this was foreshadowing, oh my god. When you want to play as a Moo Moo but you can't afford a Switch 2. But the most peculiar thing I found is the Moo Moo billboard in the Sky High Sundae track from the recent DLC. A track that is entirely made of ice cream. And what is ice cream made of? Milk. So like, is this entire land made of Moo Moo milk? Cause if so, how would they ever produce this much of it? That's insane. Cheese is made of milk too, so is the entirety of Cheese Land made from Moo Moos as well? Who knows? The track is sponsored by them, so it's not impossible. Clearly there's some sort of conspiracy going on here. This company has massive cows with unprecedented strength that can produce an infinite amount of milk. They used to be a humble Moo Moo Farm, but now they've evolved into a mega corporation under everyone's noses. But next we bring alternate universes into the equation, because the Moo Moos have appeared in freaking Minecraft of all places. In 2016, Nintendo released the Super Mario Mashup, an official add-on for the Wii U and 3DS editions of Minecraft, and it just retextures everything to be Mario themed, including the Minecraft cows being turned into Moo Moos. And now we can gaze upon her glorious new blocky form. And for some reason you can also find Moo Moos with red and 1-up mushrooms growing out of their body. How does this even fit into the lore? What the frick? After all this legacy of the Moo Moos, you would assume there'd be some sort of merch by now. The world of Mario merchandise is quite extensive, but the Moo Moos have never appeared once in official merch. Until now, and you'll never guess what it is. I present to you the only official Moo Moo merch ever, the Moo Moo Hot Wheel, released in 2020. This exists because they were selling blind boxes where you would get a random Mario Kart obstacle on wheels, mainly so you could use them on the Mario Kart Hot Wheel playsets. And one of them just so happens to be the Moo Moo we know and love, finally brought into real life. The figure itself is really accurate to the in-game model. She's so stunning. And it's just her standing on wheels for no reason. It's such a funny object. And because of all the recent hype from Mario Kart World, these things have been flying off eBay. Some people are unironically selling this gal for hundreds of dollars. What the frick? But that's not the only time the Moo Moos were brought into real life, cause have you heard of Mario Kart Live Home Circuits? It's a very weird Mario Kart spin-off that nobody talks about, and it involves a real-life remote control car that you can drive around your house. And for some reason in this game, there's a Moo Moo Meadows themed course that projects Moo Moos into your own house. I mean, they look a little janky, but it's still so surreal to see this. They just kind of walk back and forth and eat grass out of your carpet for some reason. And there's also these cool Moo Moo Meadows themed checkpoints like the windmill you have to dodge. It's a whole Moo Moo Meadows in your own house. This is sick. Although this doohickey is actually pretty rare nowadays, so I literally had to buy it off eBay for like $100 just to see it with my own eyes. And I don't think it was worth it, because this game kinda sucks. Next, there's even more random spin-off appearances, like how in Yoshi's Crafted World, there's a bunch of Moo Moo Meadows milk cartons in multiple levels. There's even a mission to throw eggs at a cardboard Moo Moo. Why is Yoshi so rude? There's also a Moo Moo themed cart in Mario Kart Tour, and they also appear yet again in the Mario Party Jamboree version of Western Land, but this time without their colors on, so they look weirdly naked for some reason. As we inch closer and closer to present day, the Moo Moo's popularity was at an all-time high. There was this whole meme where people were making different versions of the course picture, like Mew Mew Meowdos, Snore Snore Bedtime, Doom Doom Deados, and many more. But then, on that fateful day of April 2nd, 2025, Nintendo finally confirmed that the Moo Moo has a driver's license now? This announcement that you can play as the cow in the next Mario Kart game took over the internet by storm. The amount of love and fan arts the cow received during this week brought a tear to my eye. And then on June 5th, Mario Kart World finally released, and on the character select screen, there she is. Cow. Wait, what? Yeah, for some reason Nintendo just named her Cow instead of Moo Moo. Whatever.
That's right. Cow!
Anyways, when you select her, she does a big stretch and gets in a cart. And it's so funny how badly she fits in them. Most of the time, the steering wheel is clipping into her, and I wouldn't have it any other way. This is the most badass thing I've ever seen in my life. Now that she's a fully playable character, the amount of animations and interactions she has is amazing. There's a bunch of silly trick animations that beam happiness into my brain. When you rotate your camera around, she notices you and goes like, "Huh?" And whenever you win a race, she does a big stretch of victory. You can even dance around in the car, which is one of my favorite activities. Anyways, as silly as she is, this cow is also way more important than you might think, because she's the entire reason all these random side characters even got added in the first place. In this interview, the art director revealed that a designer randomly made this silly sketch of a cow cruising along, and this masterpiece of a concept art inspired them to add a bunch of other NPC characters too. But of course the Moo Moo Meadows track itself makes a reappearance, but with a surprising new makeover. The humble, cozy farm aesthetic is now replaced with a crazy racing derby theme, which is kind of awesome as hell, not gonna lie. Every surface is covered in a bunch of road signs, there's a flaming design painted on everything. There's even a massive statue of the cow riding a motorcycle. Rather than just being a random farm you can race on, it's now a racing themed farm, which is really unique and interesting. And because of the day-night cycle, you can experience the meadows at any time of day, like sunrise, sunset, and even nighttime. Although weirdly enough, there is one main downgrade, and that's the Moo Moos themselves. They're obviously as cute as usual, but for some reason they took out the variety they had in Mario Kart 8. There's no brown or black cows, they don't lay down, and they don't even do the ear flaps. It would have been so cool if you could unlock different colors of the cow to play as too. I know it's a tiny nitpick, but it's worth mentioning, alright? The new Moo Moos do this funny jump all the time to look at you though, and I love how dumb it looks. You can still run into them as usual, but now they always jump instead of standing their ground. I don't know why they're so obsessed with jumping around now, it's kinda their new thing. I think the Moo Moos are just bouncy now for some reason, cause you can also do a trick to bounce on top of one, making this the first time the Moo Moos can actually help you during a race instead of just being an obstacle. And this mechanic is used in this insanely difficult high-level shortcut. You literally grind on the fence, then bounce on the cow back onto the fence. This is amazing. But the best part is that since this is Mario Kart World, you can finally fully explore the meadows to your heart's content for the first time. You can visit the different barns, find a bunch of secret obstacle courses. I found this fishing spot, which is pretty cool. And I even found this random pipe that shoots you into the air for some reason. There's even a P-switch challenge that spawns a bunch of Moo Moos. I'm in Moo Moo heaven, there's so many of them. Whenever you get thirsty, you can get a glass of fresh Moo Moo milk, which is pretty cool. And when you drink it, you just get a speed boost. But if you're hungry, you can head over to Yoshi's and get this abomination. I know it looks really cute at first. I love the Moo Moo ice cream bar on top, but it's literally just ice cream covered in cheese and butter. That sounds so gross. This is not the place to be if you're lactose intolerance. Throughout the many years of playing Moo Moo Meadows, I've always dreamed of escaping the racetrack and exploring the outskirts. And in Mario Kart World, you can finally be one with the Moo Moos because there's an entire explorable region outside the course itself. And it's so peaceful driving around here, frolicking in the fields without a care in the world. Although sometimes at night, you can spot a UFO in the sky, and there's even a P-switch that lets you hijack the UFO and start abducting the other Moo Moos. Like, why did they even put this in the game? Looking back at the other versions of the meadows, they used to be so much more expansive, with tons of farming infrastructure in the distance. But the Mario Kart World version is weirdly small and empty. And I think there's actually a pretty good explanation for this, cause honestly, I don't even think this is a real farm at all. My personal theory is that the entire island of Mario Kart World is basically just one giant racing theme park. I mean, think about it, there's barely any actual infrastructure or places to live, everything just feels so fake. So this isn't the actual farm producing all the milk, it's a Moo Moo Meadows themed racetrack to advertise the milk company. And speaking of companies, there's tons of in-universe brands in almost every Mario Kart game, including this one. Like Donkey Kong's energy drink, Yoshi's entire fast food empire, Rosalina owns a freaking car dealership, and now these random side characters have companies too, like Parabitty Construction, Spike Express, Nabbit's Courier Service. I feel like every single character in this entire series owns a goddamn company. This isn't Mario Kart, this is CEO Kart. But like, doesn't that make you wonder, who owns Moo Moo Milk? They've never alluded to any specific characters owning the company. Which brings me to my final game theory, the Moo Moo you play as is the CEO. I mean, think about it, she's clearly way different than the other cows. Every Moo Moo just mindlessly walks around, yet this one has enough intelligence to pass a driving test. She's also way smaller than the other ones as well. But there's even more evidence, the giant statue of a cow on a motorcycle. There's a photo of that same cow in the barn. The company's branding is a cow on a motorcycle. I think it's safe to say that all of these are referring to the same cow, specifically the one you play as. I rest my case. But it's about time I jump off the deep end, because some of this stuff truly makes no sense. Such as the fact that you can get a burger in this game, and the cow can eat the freaking burger? Isn't that cannibalism? What the hell? There's also Sky High Sundae in this game again, and it's still not confirmed if this is all made of Moo Moo milk or not. And finally, why is this cow so different from the rest in the first place? Why do all these other random NPC characters have their own companies and driver's license at the same time, along with the cow? This could all be a Mario Kart TV conspiracy theory for all I know. Maybe they genetically engineered all these creatures to be smart enough to drive so they can advertise their businesses during races, all in an ultimate pyramid scheme of money making that funnels back into Mario Kart TV's pockets. There's freaking UFOs flying around, I'll believe anything at this point. Or, I don't know, I might just be reading into it too much. Saying all of it out loud now kinda makes me sound like a psychopath. At the end of the day, these games were never meant to have any actual canon lore. But I don't care, because this is my personal headcanon that I will full-heartedly believe until proven otherwise. Anyways, going through the entire history of this random Mario Kart cow has still been really interesting. She's had so many updates, multiple different tracks, and random spin-off appearances that most people don't even know about. So I hope you will now appreciate her journey as much as I do. Let me know your personal theories in the comments, and also like and even subscribe, and I'm done now. Okay, bye!